So he also mentioned Stephon Diggs. It'll be cool to throw to a receiver who's made plays like him. So now they're setting up Drake Maye. And as I mentioned, Mike Vrabel, now this is his era. This is his time, his chapter. Let's talk a little bit about the expectations for the Patriots, Manti. What do you think? How's this going to go?
Well, how's it going to go? I think it's going to be better. The expectations are more positive than they were last year. And I know that Drake Maye's excited, to your point, Colleen, to throw to Stephon Diggs because last year his number one target was Hunter Henry, his tight end. And so my only concern about that signing is what do you do with Pop Douglas? Because Pop Douglas was your number 2 receiver, but they played the same position.
That's tough.
Right? It's kind of like a Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp situation where they both play slot receiver. So that's going to be something that I'm going to look at. I think a lot of their acquisitions this offseason were great. Harold Landry was in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel. So what does that do for Mike Vrabel? Now you don't have to just implement your culture from a coaching standpoint. You have somebody inside the locker room that can tell his teammates, hey, this is what coach expects. This is how the coach is going to be 5 minutes, 10 minutes early to meetings. If you're not, this is what's going to happen. So Harold Landry being there, another big signing was Milton Williams from the Eagles. He fortifies that D-line. But again, culture. That's what we've been hearing all offseason long from Mike Vrabel and the Patriots staff is I'm going to instill a new culture. Well, you bring over a Super Bowl winning D lineman, and he not only gives you that presence, but he also helps you to instill that culture. So Drake Maye said veterans that played at a high level. I think the person that I'm most excited for isn't a player. He once was a player, but he's a coach in Mike Vrabel. Mm-hmm. See, Mike Vrabel, if you look at the Patriots, their O-line really struggled last year, but Mike Vrabel specifically goes into the O-line room and works with them. KB, how many times have we seen Mike Vrabel with that big pad on his chest that he straps on, and he literally goes toe-to-toe with his O-lineman? So that is the position that needs the most improvement. They've brought, guys around them. They drafted Will Campbell, but again, having Mike Vrabel there to help that O-line with the meticulous work that he's going to do, I think it really puts him in a different position. And so my expectation for him is a little higher.
Okay, what do you think, Willie?
Yeah, for me, it's tough because I was a fan of Drake Maye, having played against him. Obviously, he was the former coach of the New England Patriots last year, but he was somebody who I thought was really going to be a tenured coach, a guy who's going to be at the seat for a long time. But Manti is right, man. Mike Vrabel was one of those guys, when he played, he was tough. He played with an unfiltered mouth, and he was ruthless. And on top of that, one thing he brings to the table is oral history, right? And that's important because when you have oral history, you can talk about the times when you were a Patriot and how great this team was and how they approached their day-to-day work and what he brought to the table and what the team brought to the field each and every Sunday. So I agree from that standpoint. But what he also brings is new blood. You talked about having 14 new faces in the building. Huge. You talk about getting rid of some of the old vets like Captain Joe Cardona. You talk about releasing David Andrews. Bottom line is, Mike Vrabel's bringing the old and the new, and he's doing it with a metal bat. This guy's a tough football player. He wants tough guys who love to travel on the road and bring their A game. I expect the Patriots to be a sleeping dog that's going to wake up and be ready to roll this season.
You mentioned Joe Cardona. It's significant. He's the long snapper who was released after 10 seasons. Cardona was the last link to the Super Bowl era. There is no player on the Patriots roster who was there winning, playing. This is all completely new. And speaking of new, let's play a game here amongst the four of us right now. A year ago, I remember vividly, the Patriots were looked at as Team 32. They were just, no one thought anything of them. No one picked them to make the playoffs. They certainly didn't make the playoffs. And that was even reflected in the offseason odds to make the playoffs. I have right here the DraftKings odds in the teams most likely to make the playoffs this year and then least likely. I want to go around the horn and guess where the Patriots land. Just for context, the Bills, they have at number 1, most likely team to make the playoffs, and the Browns, they have least likely. So I'll start Willie, Manti, Colleen. Just guess what the number is and where the 2025 Patriots rank to make the playoffs. What do you got?
10th.
10th. Okay.
Yeah. 10th.
Manti?
I say 26th.
24.
Okay. 10, 26, 24. The winner... It's actually a tie. It's a tie between Willie and Colleen. They're 17th. They're 17th. So
That's
split
wild.
10 and 24. 17th is a huge jump from a year ago. To go from 32 to we were barely recognized as a team to 17 is really, really big. The other thing we do, certainly on this show and on this network, is if we were to do 32 of these segments where we say, what do we think about the 2025 Patriots? They're so great. They're going to make a huge jump. They're going to the playoffs. They're amazing. There's going to be 32 playoff teams if you watch these segments. I'm not making this one of those teams. I don't think the Patriots are going to make a massive jump. I don't think you want to compare them to last year's Commanders and all that stuff. No. They're still in the division with one of the biggest, baddest bullies in the league. They have different Jets, different Dolphins. I'm not ready. I think the Patriots are a year away, and I don't apologize for saying that. Also, Mike Vrabel, I went back and looked at his first year as the Titans head coach. The Titans had gone 9-7. He comes in and they go 9-7. It was not this big Jim Harbaugh type jump. It was not a massive turnaround. I think the Patriots are still a ways away in terms of talent. And the other thing I think is the Patriots right now are the team that is the draft darling. All of the draft grades, or they nailed it, they crushed it, which makes me actually root against them because I hate draft grades. But everyone is on the Patriots now. Vrabel's a badass, May is good, and they crushed the draft, even though we don't know if they crushed the draft. I'm going to zag a little bit here. I still think they need more talent. I think they'll win a few more games this year, but I don't think they're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, listen, I was a part of a 4-12 team when I was with the New York Jets, and it's brutal. But one thing that we did the next year how we responded was being able to understand that, listen, last year's last year, and this is a new year. If you turn on the tape for the New England Patriots, yeah, they didn't have a lot of firepower. They didn't have the guys up front to make hay and get on the scoreboard. But they fought hard. This defense showed up Sunday after Sunday and really tried their best. Now, I know trying is one thing, but getting it done is another thing. I know this is when a new year comes upon you, man, you have more bloodlust because you understand that everybody's counted you out. And that's why the importance of Mike Vrabel being in the building is huge, because he's telling these guys, listen, what we were last year is last year. Who we're going to be this year, we're going to be what I say we're going to be. Tough, resilient, in your face, and unapologetic. Very much how Mike Vrabel played the game, and that's why I'm excited for him to be the new head coach of the New England Patriots.
Yeah, Willie, you and I, we're all just talking about Mike Vrabel, and I wrote down what KB said. I mean, they were 32nd, you said, KB, last year. Now you're saying they're 17, so that means there's 14 teams that whoever produced that thing thinks that the Patriots are better than. But if you look at their roster, it's pretty much the same roster. So what's the jump? The only big difference is now you have a new head coach, which brings new life, which brings new expectation, which brings new faith and hope and whatever you want, all those little adjectives that you want to talk about. So I think it just goes to show the big difference and the impact that Mike Vrabel has had on that team so far, not only inside that locker room, but outside.
When you look at Drake Maye, guys, the fact that now he has Josh McDaniels, who's also back in New England, what do you expect for Drake Maye specifically in this year for him, Manti?
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny how we were talking about how Coach Vrabel has got rid of all the old Patriot regime as far as the players, but then he goes and brings Josh McDaniel back. But this is what I expect from Josh McDaniel and Drake Maye in the offense. I think that Drake Maye is going to be a lot more calculated. Look at Josh McDaniel and how he's helped his quarterbacks all the way back to Tom Brady. The type of systems, he's a system offensive coordinator. He looks at what he has. He looks at his quarterback specifically. And how many coaches do we have in the NFL that are quarterback friendly? Kevin O'Connell is one of the best. And look what he did with Sam Darnold. So if you look at Josh McDaniel, he's going to take Drake Maye and it's going to help him to be more calculated. He's going to look at his whole offense and say, hey, what are the things that we don't do so well? What are the things that we do extremely well? Well, right now, we don't block so well. So let's get this ball out quick. Let's establish this run game. And, you mentioned Trevion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. Let's get that running game going. Now we can get the ball out of Drake Maye's hand fast, because I remember last year, we had a debate about whether Drake Maye should start right away or if they should hold him out. And I was saying that they should keep him on the sideline, just save him. KB was adamant. He was standing on the table. Put him in, put him in. But then I remember we watched one game, and we saw how Brissett was just getting killed back there. And KB came back on live. He's like, you know what? I changed my mind.
Just kidding.
Don't play him. Why? Because he's going to get killed. And so I think that based on all of those different factors, Josh McDaniel looks at it and say, hey, listen, this is the system that best fits us and best fits Drake Maye, and it's going to be a little bit more efficient.
Kyle?
Yeah, Manti, you remember what I said last September? I don't remember what I said 90 seconds ago. I have no idea what I said about Brissett or anything like that. But here's what I will say about Drake Maye now. he didn't kill it as a rookie, all right? And because he's not getting talked about a lot because the Patriots didn't win any games and because Jaden Daniels made history. But it's a weird thing. I think we all kind of believe in Drake Maye. He didn't have huge numbers. He didn't have a signature win at the end of a bad season. He just kind of looked the part. That's the best way I can say it. Willie's nodding like he looked like he seems like he has it. And that's fine. I don't begrudge him that. It was a really bad team with a bad offensive line, and he survived, and he kind of looked good sometimes. The thing is, I look at Stephon Diggs as the addition. Normally, you'd be like, oh, you bring in the old guy, and he's going to be the wide receiver 2 and tutor the young guys. I think they need like 80 catches out of Diggs this year. They need huge production. I don't like the wide receiver room. I don't love it, certainly, especially if you're going to try to make a playoff run this year. They need big stuff from this guy, and Drake Maye has to make a big jump from being a really promising-looking rookie to, like, listen, we're on the second year now. Second-year quarterbacks do insane things. First-year quarterbacks do insane things. We're on the clock, and it's like, if the Patriots go 6-11 this year, it's not going to be looked at as, well, we're taking steps. It's going to be looking at, what the hell? We have a quarterback and a coach, and we didn't win. It's just, the expectations are different now, Willie.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think for me, when I think about Drake Maye, listen, he went 3-9 as a starter, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. But I expect the game to slow down for him, and I think that's why it was so huge for them to get Will Campbell to kind of lock up this line, or at least start building on it. Because, listen, this offensive line gave up 52 sacks on a season. That's beating. There's no way around it. And if you want this young quarterback to thrive in this league, you're going to have to keep him upright. I thought Will Campbell and his ability to lock down the left side of this line for the New England Patriots is going to allow Drake Maye to process the game in a slower fashion, which allows him to use his athleticism and also see the field and go through his progressions. I like Drake Maye, but I'm like Kyle, man. You're just going to have to show me more.
No, we need more.
You just need more. And hopefully that more comes with him being able to slow the game down, making the dink and dunks, stretching the ball down the field, and when he needs to, use his athleticism. But overall, he's going to have to take a big jump in year 2 for me.
What do we expect from him, I guess, but also the Niners as a whole this season? A little outlook here.
Well, I expect him to have to carry a bunch of that load. You know, it's so funny. I look back at 2024, and I think you could label it the year of the tight end. If you think about what the Niners had to go through, all of the injuries that they went through, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Debo, who did all of that responsibility fall on? George Kittle. But then it's just copied and pasted throughout the league. You think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they lost Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who became Baker's #1 target, K. Dalton. And so this tight end position is starting to come alive. I mean, there were 2 tight ends selected in the first round. I don't know how many times that's happened before in the history of the NFL, but there are 2 tight ends in the first round. So that just goes to show where the tight end position is going. Now, where the 49ers are going, I don't know. I think a lot of that is predicated not only on George Kittle, but also on Christian McCaffrey's health. Like, is he going to be healthy? Because I think they struggled a lot not having him in there to do what Kyle Shanahan wants to do, and that's run the ball. George Kittle posted up some great numbers, but I can only imagine what kind of numbers he would have posted up if he had Christian McCaffrey there to establish a run game. Like, they were doing stuff, right, KB? They were doing stuff with their 3rd or 4th running back on their depth chart, and they're still doing being successful. But that's just so hard. So, you know, to George Kittle's credit, he balled out. But he's just one guy, and they just revamped that whole roster. So really, I just don't know what to expect from the Niners other than, man, they're going through a phase where there's a bunch of new pieces. How can we get them to work together? And it all starts and ends with George Kittle.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to see Trent Williams and Nick Bosa in the building in the offseason, really getting some of these young rookies acclimated on the 49ers way. I mean, they let go of 8 starters. They have 17 rookies in the building. So keeping guys like George Kittle, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa in the building really is just building the bridge into the future. A lot of people thought that window was closing since they let go of so many guys like Debo Samuels and a host of others. But I'm with you. I think George Kittle is a stud. Obviously, he's a future Hall of Famer. I think right now, paying him was just a matter of letting him know that, hey, you're going to be a lifer here, and we expect you to do big things this upcoming season.
We just showed, I think it was a 37-minute highlight reel. I mean, it was. I couldn't believe how long it kept going. It was like unbelievable. And then Willie made the point, and I think he's right. There could be a highlight reel just as long that is exclusively Kittle blocking. Like that is the full game that he has. I am so proud, really, of George Kittle in so many ways. I remember when I was at the Super Bowl in Atlanta, which was the really boring Rams-Patriots Super Bowl. Yep. I was there with Schrager, and we were having lunch just like in the hotel restaurant. And the next table from us in this hotel that's surrounded by NFL media members and fans was George Kittle just having lunch. No one knew who he was. No one approached him. No one talked to him. No one knew what the hell George Kittle was, this guy on the Niners. A year later, he has a monster NFL season. He's in commercials. He's selling pizza. He's with superheroes. He completely blew up. And you have to remind yourself that Kittle, who made this identity as, I'm an angry runner, I pancake guys and laugh about it. He once had 210 yards receiving in a single half. In the first half of a game for the Niners, he had 200 yards receiving. Jerry Rice never had 210 in a game. Like, he has the single season record, or a single game record for the Niners in a team that had Rice, and he's just a fantastic, fantastic player. And there was writing on the wall that maybe he might be done with the Niners. Maybe his prime's behind him. Maybe it's time to move on and move some money around. And John Lynch said no, like, Niner for life. We're keeping him. It's kind of like what Kelsey has done with Kansas City at the same position. And now we're going to get years more of Kittle. And he may play himself onto the Hall of Fame watch list. He may break some more Niners records, which are not supposed to be broken. I'm happy. I'm a fan. We all are. I'm proud of him. And I know there's a lot more coming.
Yeah, and he just has such a magnetic personality, too. And you can tell that he is like a Pied Piper. There are just players that are always around him. He's always the life of the party. And on top of it, he's a great player. So it's like this team is in transition, and if they would have traded him, it just would have felt so wrong, like a huge blowing up of the entire franchise, essentially.
On our NFL Network segment here, we had a no cap, and one of the questions was who would be a pro's pro. George Kittle. George Kittle, no cap. Is a pro's pro.
Like, he sure is. Total pro.
We all could have put on a San Francisco 49ers hat and said George Kittle is that person.
Live, we're going to take some of the headlines out there and see if we are buying or if we should keep on trying. So I'm going to make a statement. You guys know how this game goes. You tell me if you're buying or keep trying. First up, we're going to talk about the Titans here. They took quarterback Cam Ward with the first overall pick in last week's draft. But head coach Brian Callahan spoke to reporters yesterday, and he's not ready to hand him the starting job quite yet. Playing hard to get.
They'll have plenty of opportunities. How those reps get shaken out will sort of be determined by how they perform when given opportunities. That part of it's been thought out. We have a plan in place, and what that looks like is going to ultimately be sort of up to them, and how their performance goes when there's time to perform. So, feel good about the process and the plan in place, and there's going to be plenty of reps for those guys to compete and get better and improve and be ready to play in September.
Okay, so the number one overall pick might not start, according to Brian Callahan. He's not going to give him the keys quite yet. I just wonder how long that's going to last. At what point does he finally say, okay, yeah, no, of course, he's starting. Could the Titans, though, at this point, be this year's Commanders? Buy in or keep trying? Willie?
What do you got, Willie?
I say keep trying.
Yeah.
I say keep trying. I think that's unfair to the young man. But what I think about Cam Ward, I think competitor. And I also like what Brian Callahan has done. He's brought vets in the building. You're talking about Tyler Lockett. You're talking about Van Jefferson. You're talking about Calvin Ridley. They're really putting pieces around him where wherever Cam goes, he has somebody with experience and data on how to navigate his career and navigate himself on the football field. I think overall what Brian Callahan has done, he's really getting guys around guys who have played at a high level in big-time games, which is important because I tell you what, guys, and Manti can attest to this, good teams have good conversations on the practice field, right? Especially when you have young guys on the field. They want to talk about the Migos and what they did last night. When you have vets who played in big-time games and play big-time football, they talk about mechanics. They talk about how to get the job done on Sunday. So if you have a merging of that type of culture, that's how you build a locker room. That's how you build a culture in the building where the young guys can say, hey, man, how do I win on this down, old fella? He can lean on Tyler Lockett. If I got to talk to Calvin Ridley, man, I got this safety this week. I got to get up over the top. I got to lean on him. What can I do? You have guys in the building who have that expertise. So this is big for Cam Ward. Can they do what the Washington Commanders do? I don't know. That's yet to be seen. But I think right now, I think they just have to worry about being the Tennessee Titans and the new Tennessee Titans that can take over this division.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Willie. I'm on the keep trying train as well. And, you talk about Cam Ward. Willie, you brought up a great point about the conversations that are had between the good teams and the bad teams and with these young players that are coming into the NFL with all these NIL deals and all of that stuff and the type of conversations that are had on teams that you were on, Willie, that were on Super Bowls. It's just a different conversation. What I do like about Cam Ward is when he was with Shedeur Sanders in the summer, you see those conversations with Shedeur going back and forth. And, Cam Ward said, man, all I do is play football. I'm a football player. I'm a football player. I'm a football player. So that's a plus for Brian Callahan. So can these guys be the Washington Commanders? Listen, everybody wants to be the Washington Commanders. Everybody was talking during the draft that they want to find the next Jaden Daniels. The fact of the matter is this: you don't have Jaden Daniels without Cliff Kingsbury. You don't have. It's like peanut butter jelly. They go together. If you have a Jaden Daniels, but you don't have a system that functions and uses Jaden Daniels' strengths at his best, you're not going to have what the Commanders had. But for the Tennessee Titans, you do have Brian Callahan, who was with the Cincinnati Bengals, and thanks Rich Homie-Quan. When Brian Callahan was with the Bengals and Joe Burrow was the quarterback, Joe Burrow had the third best completion percentage in the NFL. So put that with Cam Ward, who, if you look at Cam Ward, I'm not saying Cam Ward is Joe Burrow, but what I am saying is Brian Callahan knows how to coach quarterbacks. And if you look at the Tennessee Titans team, they really need that quarterback because, Willie, you brought it up. Their depth chart and who they brought in, they have a lot of weapons over there in Tennessee. So I'm not going to say that they're going to be this year's Commanders, but what I am going to say is, watch out for those Titans.
It's a pretty tall order to be the Commanders, guys. I mean, we're talking about the Titans' #1 overall pick. The Commanders knocked the Lions out of the playoffs. The Commanders were in the NFC title. That was an historic season for the Commanders. So, no, keep trying. They're not going to be the Commanders. But listen, it was C.J. Stroud 2 years ago in the Texans. Then it was Jaden. It was the Commanders. Now, is it Cam Ward? You got to have a hell of a season for Cam Ward to make this team the team that really, really matters. And the thing I like about Cam Ward, and there's a lot to like, Cam Ward threw over 2,300 passes in college. Trevor Lawrence has not thrown that many in the NFL. He's been in the league 4 years. Tua has not thrown that many in the NFL. He's been in the league 5 years. So this guy has played so much football, granted, all over the place and at universities that people can't even find on a map. But I'm a huge, huge fan of Cam Ward. I'm not saying that just to say it. Most people are apathetic about Cam Ward. Most people are apathetic about the Titans. And my take on the Titans this year was I don't think they're going to be the Commanders. I do think we will be talking about them. And I'm proud of us because we are one of the few shows in history to talk about the Tennessee Titans. And Good Morning Football, we remember the Titans. And I feel like we should have a counter about how many segments we do about the Titans between now and September. We've already done one right here, so we have more than all the other shows will, but I want to count them, and I think they'll give us more once the season starts. Listen, 8 and 9's on the table for the Titans this year. Hell yes, you jump on that. The Commanders are in the ether. That was a really special season there'll be documentaries about. I think Cam Ward and the Titans giving us something to talk about is a big improvement.
And I also want to say this. I think if you're the Titans right now, understand who's been the top dog of your division. That's the Houston Texans.
No doubt.
So you look at C.J. Stroud and you look at their defense and you look at what they bring to the field. They bring a brand of football where it travels. When you talk about Tennessee Titans, they don't travel well, right? And they don't even play well at home. So right now they got to get into the mindset like, hey, we got to dominate at home. We got to kick butt on the road. And we got to do with the big boys up front. I like the addition of Kevin Zeitler. I like the fact that they have Jeffrey Simmons, who I'm a big fan of. But overall, they got to get beefy in the trenches, and they got to run the ball better, too, to help complement Cam Ward. So I like the Titans, man, but they got much more work ahead of them.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same train. We're all in the keep trying train. Kyle, you said that your expectation is that they're going to go 8 and 9. The question was, are they going to be this year's Commanders? Well, the Commanders were in the NFC Championship game. So if that's not what they are, I want to go around the table real quick, KB, Willie, Colleen. What do you think going after this season? If we look back at the 2025 Titans team, this would be a good year for them. KB, you said 8 and 9. What does that look like? Do they make the playoffs? What does that look like?
I think it's like Cam Ward is a guy. He can play. It is a little bit like the Broncos last year with Knicks, or even the Patriots, who lost a ton, but they have a quarterback. I don't even almost care what the Titans' record is this year. Make improvements, sure, but we have a franchise quarterback with the #1 overall pick. I don't really care how the record washes out after that. What do you think, Willie?
I'm coming off the top ropes of KB, man. You want to see Cam Ward just be a guy.
Yeah.
Let the mouth match the play, and at the end of the day, if they are a wild card team, that's a big plus. So I got them wild card.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that the Titans are going to go from 3 wins all the way to playing in the AFC Championship game. That's a huge jump. But, yeah, we will see improvement. And I could see them winning 7 games, 8 games. Kyle, I feel like that's right in that sweet spot. But look at their wide receivers. They have Tyler Lockett. They have Van Jefferson, Calvin Ridley. None of them are, Tyler Lockett has been in the league for a while at this point, and Van Jefferson, I want to see him stay on the field all season long. And Calvin Ridley, I want him to reach the expectations that we all have for him and that we've all had for him for so long. So if Cam Ward is the guy that can get that out of Calvin Ridley, then that's wonderful, and everyone wins that are Titans fans. And then we will be talking more about the Titans here on this show.
Showing up, being the same guy every single day. It didn't matter if he had 4 touchdowns one week or, had a not so great game the other week. He showed up and he was the same guy every day, and that's the biggest thing I took from him.
So grab the hat of the player or the coach who encapsulates the phrase true pro.
Listen, when you talk about a linebacker, everything is planned. Everything's color coordinated. I got the Jaden Daniels jersey on, and I got the Washington Commanders. Now, I'm not talking about Jaden Daniels. I am talking about their Mike linebacker, Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner has been in the NFL for like 13 years. He's right now tied with 3 other linebackers, Von Miller, Levante David, and Demario Davis for the most veteran linebacker in the NFL. But, Willie talked about in the first hour about the type of conversations that you would have with veterans for young guys. Well, these are the type of conversations you could have with a guy like Bobby Wagner. He's a Super Bowl champ. That goes a long way. It's 10 Pro Bowl selections, 6-time first-team All-Pro, NFL 2010's All-Decade Team. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but Bobby Wagner is his own agent, guys. Imagine those types of conversations. He's negotiated his past 4 deals, which have accumulated to $125 million. So imagine the type of conversations you can have with a guy like Bobby Wagner. So that's why he's my pros pro. Willie.
All right, Willie. So we got all the teams here. I wouldn't pick Commanders, but the messiness of this segment is the funnest. So is there somebody you have in mind? I will help you.
I'm going Bryce Young.
Oh, you're going
Carolina Panthers.
I'm going to flip it to you like a shrimp at Benihana.
Okay.
Bam!
Yeah. Listen, so the reason I chose Bryce Young, because, listen, I understand in 2023 he was 2-15 as a starter. He's dealt with a number of coaching changes, bad supporting cast. But one thing I talk about and we like to highlight is character. He's never complained. All he's been able to do is work and get better. They've talked about his size. They talked about his mechanics. And he's been a fine-tune and hone in on it. And towards the end of the season, he got better once he got back on the field. He had 15 touchdowns and 9 interceptions on the year. But he's now getting into the position where people and the people around him are starting to believe in his abilities and him as a leader. I love that. A guy that doesn't complain. Kyle, you brought it up earlier. Yeah. We live in a world of NIL. If they don't get the position and if they don't like what these young guys like what they like, they tend to kind of just leave.
Yeah.
Bryce Young's like, no, I'm not going anywhere. You drafted me to be your quarterback, and I'm going to be the best quarterback I could be for the Carolina Panthers, and I believe this guy's going to have a big year this year.
I love it. And he has really, really turned things around last year. They got a new coach. They got everything, and I think that's a feel-good story with Bryce Young. Incredibly, I'm going to go with someone who used to be a Panther. It really did happen that Baker Mayfield was a Carolina Panther. And the craziest thing is that we started this segment with Sam Darnold. He was also a Panther and a teammate of Baker Mayfield. Listen, you could hear anybody talk about Baker in the huddle, in the locker room, anything, and there's many players who can do that. I will just speak. I covered the Pro Bowl down in Orlando, and I witnessed with my eyes what Baker Mayfield does, even at the Pro Bowl, how he handles himself. Let's just say when I got in the night before the game, Baker had quite a tab at the bar because he was putting everybody's on it. You want this, I got you. And the next morning, I'm at breakfast. He's there with his family, his baby, his wife, clear-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to roll, working every table, saying hello, signing autographs, taking pictures. Baker Mayfield impressed me in a weekend where he could just mail it in and lie around if he wanted to. I saw it with my own eyes. I will always be a Baker Mayfield fan, and I know I'm not alone. Colleen Wolfe, take us to Q2.
Of the long shot team, you've got a good feeling about this season, Manti.
You know I'm going to go with Jets, Jets. I like the Jets because I like Justin Fields. Justin Fields is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. However, there's a bunch of guys on that team that are just dogs. Breece Hall, okay? Breece Hall one of the most underrated. I don't know why people don't talk about this guy more, because this guy, every time he gets the ball, he's just electric with it. Then obviously Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields, both played at Ohio State. There's that connection there already. On the defensive side, you have Quinnen Williams. You have the Williams brothers. You have Sauce Gardner. So this is a team that has connection. Not only college connection, as you see here, Justin Fields throwing to Garrett Wilson. Look, you're going to see a lot of that in the green and white over there at MetLife Stadium.
This is cool.
You're going to see a lot of that connection. You're also going to see the connection with the Williams brothers. There's going to be connections with Breece Hall and the touchdown. So I really think that going into the season, I like the New York Jets, Willie.
The Jets hat. What do you got, Willie?
Well, I don't know. I probably didn't do this well enough, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I got the Rams, man. It's hard to go back, especially.
Are they a long shot?
They're not a long shot, so I apologize. But I just love them. And I like the fact that they got Devontae Adams, right? And you also got Puka Nacua. And on top of that, Matthew Stafford's back in the building. And do you understand, this team was 1 minute away from being in the NFC Championship game. They're not a long shot, but they are a strong shot. So I'm going with the L.A. Rams.
All right, you're really officially a Good Morning Football host when you start changing the topic. I invented the game, Willie, which is why I respect it. I'm going to go traditional, though. I'm looking again. You guys know I've been looking at this all morning, the DraftKings odds about who's most likely to make the playoffs. I'm going to go with a true long shot. This is number 28 on that list. 28th most likely.
Who you got?
The Raiders.
The Raiders?
Why the hell not? It's May 2nd or whatever it is. Listen, I don't know if the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I know that they are going to be a professional unit of players and coaches. They have a professional coach. They have a professional quarterback. I like that brain trust right there, especially the guy on the right. You think Pete Carroll's going to come in there and they're going to go 5-12 this year? He doesn't do that. He will not do that with Geno. He will not do that with that defense, that brand new running back they just got. And by the way, I don't know, I just like it better when the Raiders matter. I really do. If I had to pick one team when the league is more fun when they're good, it's the Raiders. It's been a minute, of course, but even that jolt we got 2 years ago when they beat the hell out of the Chiefs on Christmas Day, that was just this one-off win that didn't amount to much after that, and it was so exciting because it was the Raiders who did it. I am taking the silver and black. They're my long shot. They're like my 30-1 horse at the Derby, but I'm still throwing down on them. I like the Raiders.
Well, I'd say, Kyle, that the vibes are extremely high in Cleveland. Everyone always says that about the Browns. It's a quarterback mecca at this point. They have so many of them.
Yes.
So maybe, though, if Kevin Stefanski can cook this year, they can kind of get it together a little bit.
You're going to Browns? That was your pick?
Yeah, I'll go with the Browns. The quarterback mecca. There's so many. His way to becoming an absolute legend. So do you think that Will Howard can be the Steelers' next long-term answer at quarterback?
We shall see. I mean, people don't realize he's a big man just like Big Ben. He's 6'5", and he's been through a lot of adversity. I think one of the things that was telling him about Will Howard, when they lost to Michigan, man, this team could have tanked. Right? But they didn't. They kept moving on. They put it together, and they started laying teams down one by one after that, and they went all the way to the national championship. One thing about Will Howard, he's a competitor. And when you talk to his teammates, and KB, you can tell because you play football, they always ask your teammate, if you was in a back alley, who do you bring with you?
Guy? Yeah.
People say Will Howard.
Quarterback.
They say they're quarterback.
That's rare.
That means a lot, man. That means a guy who's willing to, like I talked about, the steal away. What is the steal away? Being able to be there for your brother, go to battle for your brother, and compete at the highest level. And that's what Will Howard was willing to do. Now, can he be the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers? We should see. He will get the opportunity. He just has to perform. But I like the pick.
What would you say, Willie? James Harrison?
Oh, me?
In the alley.
Without a doubt, Debo. Yeah.
You don't even need to be there.
Yeah.
Just let him
You just send Debo and you watch him popcorn in your hand.
What do you got, man?
Really, I want to stay on the topic of Big Ben. We do a lot of this, well, at least Kyle and Colleen does, and Jamie does as well. It's called ad-lib. And I remember when we were about to play the Steelers, that week of prep, Aaron Glenn, talking about Aaron Glenn, he was our secondaries coach for the Saints. His report on Big Ben and that offense was, hey, I don't care how they start their route. Big Ben is going to ad-lib, and he's going to scramble out of there. He's going to break a couple of tackles, and those initial routes are going to turn into other routes. How was it for you playing with somebody like Big Ben, and how was that experience to see him operate behind center?
Well, first and foremost, that's my brother. I love him to death. But on the playing field, if you're an offensive lineman blocking from him, understand you can't play with a clock. Right? He's going to improvise. He's going to move and groove, and he's going to make it happen when it counts the most. And also, at the end of the day, he's a hard man to tackle. When you see that 6'5" frame, 200+ body, you can't just throw one guy at him. You got to throw multiple waves of guys at him because he can give you the dead leg, he can take the impact, and he can squirm out of anything. But also, he knows his own body. So you see him giving the guy dead arm right here, looking down the field, deliver the football. One thing Ben does really well, he shows up when it counts the most. And that's pretty much the epitome of his career. When you needed a touchdown, when you needed a big play, you can count on 7. And that's why I love playing for him. A lot of times when we thought we were dead in the water, you looked in his eyes, man, he was ready to take on the team and put the cape on his back. And that's why he was a superhero for a lot of us.
He had to be an incredible guy to block for. The play's never over. It's so fun to watch. I just like seeing those highlights. We mentioned Debo a moment earlier. We talked about James Harrison. I think he made the biggest play in Super Bowl history. I don't think you can have a bigger play in the sport on that stage than the one that he made against Arizona to get you guys a Super Bowl ring. Right before halftime, you're on the team. Everybody watching knows this play, but I want to hear your perspective on the James Harrison off Kurt Warner pick six. Just take us through it.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I'm on the sideline trying to get some air because we just stalled another drive, and the defense got back on the field, man. And what's interesting about this play, Mike Tomlin the week prior to this was like, hey, guys, we're going to get an interception, and we're going to need a cavalry to rally and get this guy into the end zone. So when you see Big Lamar Willie throw a block, when you see Brett Kesey, when you see Ryan Clark trying to go get him some, this was a total defensive effort getting James Harrison in the end zone, and he was able to deliver. Now, Debo's out of breath right here, and I don't blame him. He ran a long way, man. But you got to understand, Bruce Arians always told us, he was like, listen, guys, if we're able to score before halftime, we got a good shot at winning that game. Well, we didn't do that as an offense. So the defense picked us up, and James Harrison using his instinct, getting that pick off Kurt Warner and taking the yard was huge. I was on the sideline, and I'm screaming, and I'm tapping my right guard, Darnell Stapleton, and we're going crazy. And at the same time, we're like, listen, man, now we're in this. And by the way, even though Santonio Holmes scored that touchdown at the end to win the game, if James Harrison doesn't score that touchdown before halftime, we don't win that Super Bowl. So James Harrison had one of the most iconic plays in all of Super Bowl history, and he deserves it. That's my brother. I love him.
Every time I watch the play, I think Larry Fitzgerald's going to catch him, and he never quite
almost got him.
Almost got him. But you mentioned it. So this is truly a very, very memorable classic Super Bowl against a really gutty Cardinals team who did not want to lose. They're up. There looks like the Cardinals, oh, my God, Kurt Warner's going to win. But 43 seconds, you mentioned the play, Roethlisberger to Holmes. You're on the field for this play. Take us through it. Tell us everything.
Well, we had been in that situation so many times. You got to understand that year we had multiple comeback wins, and just happens to be one of this. I remember right before we got on the field, Ben is like, hey, we know what to do. Let's just go out and do it. There wasn't no need for no kind of rah-rah talk, and we was able to do it. One of the special moments for me in this game is there's a photo shot of Tony Tuto, Santonio Holmes bringing it in, and about three rows up in the stands, it's my mother next to my brother.
Way.
Yeah, and she doesn't see the play because her face is stuck in the Bible.
What?
Yes, her face.
The Bible to the game?
She brought the Bible to that game, and her face is stuck in the Bible, and my brother is screaming like this. We got it with touchdown, and my mother never looks up until the review. Because they had to review if he was actually in. And my mom, God rest her soul, is probably all of 4'11". My brother's like picking her up like a puppet, and they're screaming. And it was just probably one of the most iconic shots, man. And I have it somewhere in the house. I don't know where it's at. I got a lot of junk in the house. But nevertheless, man, it was awesome. It was awesome. So, yeah, the touchdown was great. But to see Ma talking to the good Lord when we needed it most was incredible.
What do you guys think in L.A.?
Oh, that's so cool. First of all, I love that she had the Bible with her and that she was. That's something that my mom would actually do, too. Like, not watch the game. There was one Super Bowl where she made everyone leave the house, and she said that there would be no Super Bowl on at the house, and everyone had to go somewhere else. So, like, superstitions, I love, but your mom seems awesome.
No, it's so.
Thank you.
It's just fitting. Willie, when I watched that highlight of James Harrison's interception, you referred to the steal away and just listen to Troy Polamalu's speech. You could just put on that one clip and watch how many guys are just blocking from him. Mm-hmm. That's the steal away, And it never really clicked until you came on the show. So thanks, Willie, for taking us down memory lane.
Many actors who are sports fans. We've had many of them on the show. I don't think any of them are as passionate about being sports fans as this guy. You know him, you've seen him, he's in a million different things, and he is back as Negan in season 2 of Walking Dead, Dead City. It's Jeffrey Dean Bleepin Morgan. What's up, man? How we doing?
Kyle, thank you for having me, brother.
Best.
I'm good.
How's life?
It's good.
Yes.
Life is good. It's good to be back in the city and seeing you, and it's weird not having everybody here.
I know. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a solo guy now, huh?
I'm a solo guy. I'm kind of like the Sam Darnold of the show. I'm going to have to get it done this year, my man. If people don't know, JDM is a massive Seahawks fan. We're a long, long way from Seattle. So let's just jump in with both feet right now.
Let's do it.
It's currently May 1st. How are you feeling? What is the state of the nation of the Seattle Seahawks right now?
Man, it's been the last couple of years have been odd, and the coaching change and all. You know, I had a little heartbreak with that, but I'm growing into it all, and then getting rid of Geno. And you knew when Pete came back into coaching, he was going to come and start swiping Seahawks. I knew it. I think everybody probably knew it. I was hoping it wouldn't be Geno, but then to come back with Sam Darnold, I think is not a bad deal if we got an offensive line.
Okay.
I mean, the thing with Sam last year, and he was amazing. Yeah. Vikings had a hell of an offensive line. Seattle hasn't had an offensive line in how many years?
In a while.
Since 2015, at least. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So, draft, finally, after a decade.
What do you think?
Very happy.
Okay, good.
Very happy.
Some people get disappointed. You like it.
Yeah, no,
Why?
our first three picks, I'm super excited about. And then to get a quarterback like we got,
Yes.
I think what we see in him is a future Lamar Jackson.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
right?
yes.
So have Sam have a couple of years, and then we'll see what happens.
I love that you usually spawn very optimistic. And here we go. This is our guy. This Jalen Milroe is fast.
Yeah.
He runs. We had a report around last week, Jeb, that said he talked to several people. It said he is the best running quarterback they have ever scouted in their career.
Which is crazy because you think about Lamar, you think about Vic. I mean,
they say he's better.
Look, knock on plexiglass.
No kidding. It sounds cool, though.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. So if we have some packages for him this year, I mean, I'd like to see him on the field immediately in some packages.
They will.
I think so, too.
They will. You mentioned Pete, and I'm going to jump ahead to this because Pete Carroll, when he leaves the Seahawks, you had, I thought, a very thoughtful post on social media. This was not just a coaching change for you. I know this really, really meant something to you. What you were in your feelings. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, Pete, to me, it kind of represents the Seahawks culture. Yeah. And I think what he did with Seattle in bringing us to the Super Bowl, and because for years, kind of Seattle just was a very mediocre team. Yeah. We were 6-7 wins a year. And within 2 years of him being there, we were a legit, playoff contender threat in the playoffs, and then Super Bowl, and then Super Bowl, and I think the culture he brought to the team was something that we really missed. Yeah. And he's also an extraordinary person. Yeah. To meet him is to love him, and. I was a sad day for me, but I love new coach, and I think he's got a little Pete blood in him, and the enthusiasm he brings. But now that Pete's back with Los Angeles Raiders, or not Vegas,
yeah.
Vegas
They used to be in LA.
They've moved all over. I still want to call them Oakland.
I know.
It's going to be hard not to kind of pull for the Raiders when they're not playing the Hawks.
Yeah, like it's going to be straight, the silver and black on Pete, and you know that he's going to do that Pete enthusiasm thing, and everything's competition. It's going to work.
And you know that they're all going to buy into his enthusiasm because it's so contagious. And he came and got Geno. The first thing he does as a Raider coach is get our quarterback. Yes. And then he went after Kenny Walker, and I was like, okay, Pete, slow it down, man. Like, I love you, but don't mess with my team.
At that one point, leave us some guys. We're talking The Walking Dead, Dead City shortly. You mentioned enthusiasm. You were at Seahawks-Jets last year.
Yes, I was.
And this was this crazy comeback, and Leonard Williams has this massive 92-yard pick six. Yeah. We have the advantage here, as you know, on our show. We have videotape. We have every play in NFL history that we can show, and we're showing this, damn it. Get into this. Just do the play-by-play. How are you thinking?
Oh, my God. I was screaming my ass off already because I was looking downfield. I was like, I think he can do it. And then about here, I was like, he's going to collapse. But he did it. Big Cat had a hell of a year.
Isn't it incredible?
I mean, what a year he had.
What an athlete.
One of the more exciting things that happened last year was his play.
I know.
And it was a big deal. And I'm kind of excited to see. I will say our defense is dangerous. It's looking really good.
You like the D?
I do like our D a lot. I still think we could probably use another corner or two.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, I think we've really shored it up. And I love this kid we just drafted with the number 2 pick, but I can't say his last name. Do you have it in front of you?
Yeah. Bring up the Seahawks draft, in fact, guys. I want Jeff and have everybody look at it. Do you have the Seahawks draft? Yes. There we go. All right, so you're talking you're talking about Nick Amanawari.
Yes, as a safety.
Yes.
He's a Cam Chancellor, a mini Cam Chancellor. And I say that I so hope he really is.
I know that's your guy.
But, yeah, he is a big, strong specimen of a man, and I think that he coached him up, and he's going to be dangerous. He might be a plug-in play guy, too. Start right away.
See, this is what I'm saying. This guy goes down the depth chart in the draft. He's not just, who did they take in the first? It's going to be great. Jeff's got real takes on this stuff.
Oh, man.
That's why I love you. And this is the kind of fan that he is. He likes the scrap.
I do.
We have to talk about... Negan is back.
Yeah.
Okay, he is back.
The show.
Walking Dead, Dead City. I know. See, understand, this is the rare guest where you're like, we have to talk about, most guests are like, get to the show. No. Morgan doesn't even want to talk.
No.
All right, but we got a clip. We're going to do everything. Right now, we're going to roll the clip. Season 2 premieres this Sunday. The Walking Dead, Dead City.
That's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is, but it's like, it's all this dead. It's a cool mouthful. Let's look at the clip. Go ahead.
Look, I think it's a solid plan. I do. It'll knock out the ship. But it certainly isn't a death blow. Like you said, though, just the first wave. So we just crank it up. We give them a 4th of July laser light style spectacular. And not just for the ship, but their people back home. And also the folks that are on our side. You know, these gangs are having trouble making up their minds. Well, Jesus Christ, let's just erase any lingering doubts, shall we?
Not to me, but that's my feeling.
That's just Morgan chewing up scenery like he always does. Tell us about the new season. What do we got? Come on.
I mean, it's more of the same, more New York, more Maggie Negan trying to figure out a way to live together or live in the same world together and not kill each other, I guess. And we brought on some new cast, some new characters I think that the audiences are going to love. It's an exciting year. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to the people seeing it. Let's talk football.
I had all these follow-ups. You know what I have for you? You're going to love this. I have a game, and this is the Seahawks game.
Okay.
This is pick your guy, and I'm going to bring up 2, and you just have to pick one, and we'll do it tournament style. Bring it up, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Seahawks, pick your guy. Bring it up. Give me the 2 pictures we're going to start with. All right, Hasselbeck, Richard Sherman, pick one.
Oh, man, Jesus. I could talk about both of them. I mean, I think Hasselbeck has a lot of good years with the Seahawks. Took it to our first Super Bowl, but, Richard Sherman.
Sherman. All right, so Sherman stays.
Yeah.
Who comes next? This is going to be torture for you, but I'm going to make you do it. Sherman stays. Who comes next? All right, that's Doug Baldwin.
Oh, my God.
What do you think?
I love Doug Baldwin so much. I'm going to go Doug Baldwin.
Doug Baldwin stays.
Yeah.
Sherman exits stage right.
Yeah, which sucks because that's a horrible.
That's okay. That's part of it. All right. Steve Hutchinson versus Doug Baldwin.
I mean, we're talking a Hall of Fame.
I know. You love Baldwin. I can tell.
I love
You're
Baldwin.
in anguish right now.
I really love Baldwin. I mean, I've become friends with him too.
Oh, great.
So he sees this, and
Are we staying? Is Baldwin staying?
I'm going to go Hutch.
Because you know I got some.
I'm going to go
Hutchinson. Hutchinson. Baldwin out. Baldwin out. Who takes out Steve Hutchinson?
Because I need that Hall of Fame
All right.
O-line.
Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner.
Oh, so my buddy. Bobby Wagner.
All right, Bobby Wagner stays.
Bobby Wagner.
Hutchinson out.
Bobby Wagner, I cried when we got rid of him.
Of course.
Like literally tears.
Sean Alexander, league MVP.
Yeah.
Bobby Wagner.
Boy. I'm going to go Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner stays. Okay, but Wagner feels like he might be unbeatable. However,
Bobby Wagner.
Alexander out. Who comes in against Bobby Wagner? Who do we have? Bring it in here. That's Earl Thomas. Here we go. Now it's getting tough. Morgan's going to take Lucille and smash the bat onto the camera. He hates
I mean,
this
they
so much.
played together.
I know.
The two of them are like, they're interlocked.
Which is it? Thomas?
Oh. I'm going to go Bobby, only because Earl flipped off Pete.
He did. Earl was on a cart leaving the stadium and he flipped off Pete. Okay. Right. Who's that on the right, Jeff? Who's that guy?
Bam Bam Cam.
Bam Bam Cam versus B Wags, and here you go.
Listen, both are game changers, but there was something about Cam Chancellor watching him play. I was at the Super Bowl we won, and in the first quarter, he put a hit on Denver so hard.
Set the tone.
It changed the game.
Set the tone.
It changed the game. So I'm going to go Bam Bam on this.
Bam Bam comes in. We should probably remind you that season 2 of The Walking Dead Dead City premieres on Sunday. Steve Largent from the old school.
Oh, my God, I got memories. Also, just Bam Bam Cam.
Bam Bam Cam stays. We're almost done. The torch is almost over.
I know what.
Can someone take out Walter Jones? Now this is a legend. This is a legend.
A true legend.
But that Super Bowl play against the Broncos was amazing.
Cam Chancellor.
Cam Chancellor. Walter, we love you. We're going to push
And
you
I
out.
love Walter. And he's like the biggest Seahawk guy still. He's at every game. Cam Chancellor.
Cam Chancellor. Alarmingly quick on Russell Wilson.
I know. Russell was great, but he's a giant now.
Everybody has their favorite. Can you just close by telling us, why is this your guy? A safety of all positions.
Yeah, weird. Maybe because of the way he was able to change the game. I mean, I remember those NFC Championship in the height of the Seahawk years playing the Niners, and he would lay a hit, and you could see the other team they would change. It changed the tone of everything. But the Legion of Boom was something very special, and he was an integral part of it. It's like to choose him or Earl or Richard Sherman is really hard. But Cam Chancellor, man, no one laid a hit like him.
Some incredible seasons from Cam Chancellor.
Yeah.
Not sure if they're as incredible as season 2 of The Walking Dead City, in which Jeffrey Dean Morgan returned. Oh, we got the poster again.
There we go. We go. You know, he didn't have on there was Marshawn Lynch. That would have caused a lot of problems.
Damn it. All right, he's staying for another second. Walking Dead Dead City. It is the Cam Chancellor of season 2s.
Yes.
He hits as hard as 31. There's nobody better than this guy. Premieres Sunday, May 4th on AMC and AMC Plus. Shout out to the 12s. This is the best guy there is.
The 12s. Here we go. This
Every time you come, I want you to stay longer.
Yeah,
right?
I know. It always goes way too fast.
You're the best, buddy. Good to see you, brother.